into it. Let's start with the limo exits and first impressions, whatever you like to call it. This is a classic of every premiere episode. Sometimes we have gimmicks, sometimes people come out in costumes, or do little bits, sing a song, do a dance, do a flip. Sometimes it's super wild, very cringy a lot of times. Or others, people are just kind of more themselves and maybe do something more memorable. Maybe give the lead something. But who stood out for you during this whole section of the episode?
Yeah, I mean, first I have to say, I think it was very um different than past seasons. Like I feel like the limo
Mm,
entrances were like half of the episode. So I think that's something to note that I feel like it was like basically cut in half. There was no costumes, there was no
mm,
like different transportation going into the thing. So I definitely feel like there was
very
less
true.
of a focus on those. So I think that's kind of something interesting and maybe we'll throughout the season there will be kind of some different tones versus like premiere is basically the limo exit episode in past seasons and I didn't feel like it was really
Yeah.
like that. And I do have to also say the
Mm,
gazebo thing, I guess it was raining, I thought it was beautiful, but it was basically Charity against like the gazebo pole the whole time. She had to kind of like work us like swerve a little
yeah.
bit to see the guys coming out of the limo, which was a little awkward. So maybe they'll think
Yep.
about that next time it
Yeah.
rains. But yeah, overall, I would say
Mhm.
maybe a little underwhelming just because it was less of a focus. But I have to say,
Mhm.
I loved
Mm.
John and the fortune cookie. I thought that was cute. And I also liked Aaron B and the coin flip. And I'm not convinced that there's heads only on that coin. I'm not sure that I don't I think it's one of those like magic trick coins. But
Right. Yep.
I'm just,
Yep.
you never know. But I mean, he got real lucky twice. What about you?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, okay. When they got inside and he flipped the coin again, I'm like, okay, it's heads again. What's going on here?
Yep.
But maybe he's just really lucky. Who knows? No, first before I go into like who stood out for me, I have to agree. I was kind of wondering, like, it was an interesting, you know, this part of the limo entrances was interesting because it was long. It felt longer, but it wasn't incredibly long. Like when I rewatched it, for us to talk about today, it really was only like it only lasted 30 minutes of the episode. So it wasn't technically half, but it felt like it was going on for a long time. But at the same time, there wasn't much like going on. Like you said, there wasn't really costumes or anything really crazy um that stood out. No one writing in on things like you said. And I think maybe that had to do with the turnaround of time. Um, from what I remember, I think when they casted Charity as a Bachelorette, and then when they started filming, I mean, I think it maybe was in 2 weeks that of that happening. So maybe it just they didn't have time to really prep, like that kind of stuff. Get you a fire truck to drive in on or stuff like that. But with that being said, though, I will say there were a few where I was like, oh, that was cute. Oh, that was cool. Like for instance, Joey had, the Hawaiian flower, I can't remember what it was called, that it had, like, a
Oh
to it, and it was
yes.
like
I loved
you
that.
move it from your right ear to your left ear, and so I want you to keep it, and maybe if I'm it's you and me at the end, you can move it over to your left ear, and, that will signify that, you know, you're taken or you're mine, which I thought was really cute, and it connected with him being from there. And we have Brayden on the screen. I actually really liked we'll talk about him later, but I really liked Brayden's tequila shot. His personality really shined through. I feel like he it kind of I don't know, broke the ice with him and Charity of just he's really comfortable, and I feel like she was able to just be like, "Oh, yeah, like, this dude's cool." And it's not like I don't know, it can be obviously very nerve-wracking, the first impression. So, yeah, people like that were really cool who were just kinda being themselves, Xavier. But I have to say, Spencer, do you remember Spencer, AG?
I do. I have a lot to say about Spencer.
Okay. I can't wait. I don't know, maybe we'll talk about when we get inside maybe, but I have to say was scaring me, guys. I don't know about y'all, but he was scaring me not like, "Oh, I'm scared of him," but, like, scaring me like, Are you okay? Like, what is happening right now? Like, what is going on?" Because it went from, "Oh, he's just really nervous," to, like, she's having to, like, remind him where he is and who he is as, like, a human being. It was like, "Are you good?" And then he just totally flipped and was like, "Oh, yeah, great." Like, we had a spark. It's like, "Okay, wait, what is going on?" Like, what were your thoughts on Spencer? Because I was like, "Yeah, is he okay?"
Well, he was prepared to let Charity kick him in the nuts for his martial arts move.
Yes,
I
that
mean,
part
I don't know if
too.
she what if she would have gone through with it? I mean, it definitely would have made a TV moment. Here's what I'll say.
Right.
You know,
Hmm.
I could tell he's maybe just overall in his life socially awkward, which I think can be kind of endearing sometimes. I wasn't so sure, like that very, when you first meet someone, I think it's
Yeah.
definitely a step back of being like, okay, this guy's a little different. He beats to his own drum. Like, how do I feel
Mhm.
about this? And I think Charity kind of probably had that in her mind as well. And wanting to maybe get to know him more just because he was memorable, if anything. You know what I mean? Yeah, it might have been awkward, but
Mhm.
I'm sure she won't be forgetting it anytime soon.
This is very true. I think also, we have to keep in mind production might have wanted her to just kind of, because spoiler alert, like, she kept him, and I was very surprised by that. But I think maybe he's someone that can add some other layers to the episodes. I don't want to say drama because I think I don't know. I don't wanna call him drama or anything like that, but he does add a little bit of like, "Okay, is Spencer gonna be okay? Like, what? Is this really awkward?" Or whatever. But it is interesting too that he is a dad, and I found that, once he shared that with her, she was like, "Oh, wow, like, thank you for being here. Like, that's so, like, that's such a huge sacrifice." And so he's definitely an interesting character, but I think maybe there's potential for the layers to him just get more comfortable, just kind of relax or something. But I feel
Yeah,
like production maybe wanted him around too because they knew they could get some TV moments out of him as well. So he's kind of a little,
sure.
you know, multifaceted.
I definitely have to say that when they were inside and they were able to sit down and you saw a little bit more of him, you saw like how nervous he was to tell her about his son.
Mm,
I found him very endearing and different. And honestly, if I was Charity,
yeah.
I would have given him a rose too, just because I feel like kind of what you said, layers. There's layers to him that probably people don't get to certain layers because of kind of that outwardly kind of socially awkward like vibes. But I think maybe sometimes
Yeah.
the people, people don't take the chance to get to know him as much as they should because of those
Mhm.
first impressions. And so I like that Charity was able to see through that. And I think he could be a little gem
Yeah.
inside. I don't know. I found him very enduring once like I got a little bit more of a full picture versus just
Mhm.
that entrance, I guess. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm excited to watch him and
No, true.
see kind of which direction it goes. I could be way off base and he's a psycho.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I see something good in him, but it could go
Yeah.
either way.
No, I think it's true. I mean, like, for instance, in the ITMs, the facial expressions, they were all over the place. Not even just the ITMs, even
Mhm.
like, again, in the limo entrance, like when he was in front of Charity, it was like like he went from like looking like he was lost to being like, "Oh yeah, this is great," like smiling to like it was, like I said, it was kind of scary. Like I was like, am I getting like a Luke P. Yosef thing? But then when he shared like he's a dad again, it was like, okay, maybe he's not a bit like he's not like he's a scary guy, but I don't know. He's just very interesting. They have like this cast of guys is definitely um it's different than usual. Like even when we get to the Braden aspect of it all, like there isn't really a villain or someone that I'm really like, let me save all my thoughts. We'll get there. But yeah, Spencer was interesting. I'll just stop there. Were there anybody else from the limo exits that you wanted to touch on that stood out to you?
You know who? Oh, I can't think of his name now. I have it in my notes, but he didn't end up getting any one-on-one
Huh.
time, but he still got a rose. He's from
Mm.
oh my goodness, what is his name? Oh, I'm having the worst. It was the really unique name that you would have never heard in The Bachelor before. Dorn.
Was he the last
Okay, maybe
guy?
I need to move
Doughton?
past it. Oh, and thank you,
Doughton?
thank you. I could not think of his name. I'll have to get that up here. But I
Yeah.
really liked him. It wasn't like some big, like he wasn't dressed up like a shark or anything. But he made an impression on me of just like, I
Mhm.
could see him and Charity vibing.
Yeah, I have to agree. He was actually in my
I
notes
liked
as
him.
well. I think he was the one guy who I felt like out of the limo, I felt him and Charity had like there was something there. Like or she responded to him
Exactly.
immediately. Like just that like there was like a chemistry building already. Like I felt like maybe there was potential with some of the other guys out the limo that definitely we'll talk about the one-on-ones in a minute.
Mm.
But yeah, with him for sure, I felt it. And I was surprised by that because I looked at the cast before and I was like, I didn't really think anything of him. So yeah, excited to see where he goes throughout the season. Um, and I think one other person whose gimmick I actually really liked, I just wanted to note, which I was like, why hasn't anyone done this before? Was he went home actually. Taylor, he had like a home video camera and he came out
Oh
of the limo like,
yes,
"Hey
the guy who looks
kids,
like
this is me
Tanner
meeting
from
your mom
Tanner
for
and
the first
Jade.
time." Yeah, he looks like
It was
Tanner.
cute.
There he goes. Yes. He was so cute.
Exactly.
I loved this idea. I thought that was really cute. I know like my brother was watching it with me. He was like, "No, that's so cringy." I was like, "No, that's really sweet because what if they do end up working out?" Um, but yeah, I kind of enjoyed like when I think back on it, I did enjoy most of the ideas. Like you said, like John with the fortune cookie. It was like really cute stuff. Even Warwick had like a flight that he bought, like, oh, we have like a one-way ticket together if
Oh
we
yeah.
work out or something like that. Like it was some cute stuff that wasn't too over the top, but wasn't just like, hi, I'm Joe, nice to meet you. Bye. Um, so
Yeah, I just feel like they're all very
you're
just
good.
like medium. I feel like we have like past seasons, we have more to talk about. Like, oh, this was so cringy. Could you believe they did that? And I felt like it was just a little
Yeah.
bit more tame this year, minus the Spencer of it all.
Mhm. Yeah, right. For sure. I agree. And I'm like trying to figure out if like I liked that, if I disliked that. And I think I was cool with it. I think I was fine with it not being too over the top, people being gimmicky because then I feel like
I
there's too
liked
many
it.
guys who aren't being serious. Like I want you to actually
hmm
be here to be seriously trying to date Charity. Um which I definitely got the
Same.
sense of once we got inside.